Hello, you're back with Beatle. We are back on Survivor.io. Today we have a really interesting video comparing the Revolver and the Shotgun in the normal chapter modes that has a bit of a surprise or a twist ending. Just before we get into the video though, there's still around 90% of people that watch these aren't actually subscribed. So if you do enjoy the content, please do consider subscribing. And here we'll go jump into the Shotgun. First of all, there it is, level 49, epic number 2. We're just going to jump into chapter 12 and see how we get on here. So normal rules apply in this challenge. Every time there is a shotgun or a revolver upgrade in the next run, I will always choose that. Other weapons, I will try and get the tech part upgrades. I obviously want to try and compare the primary weapon with the other weapons as well, just to sort of see how it does. And I'll be comparing all the damage done against the total kills, and we'll come up against a nice comparison at the end. The reason I wanted to do this comparison is for, I suppose, that the people that haven't unlocked the Light Chaser or haven't unlocked Void Gun or any of the S items, then this could prove a useful video in determining which weapon you actually want to use in the chapter modes. So here we are with the shotgun. Obviously, I've just sped the gameplay up slightly just so the video isn't over half an hour long. And I get the shotgun to level 5. There it is, around the 1 minute mark. So I suppose that is just worth bearing in mind. I actually quite like using the shotgun in the main chapter modes. Although it shoots quite slowly, you can sort of see how easily it kills all the enemies. But obviously we're trying to get the Gatling gun out as quickly as possible, as that is where all the sort of destruction comes into effect. And if you had watched my previous video, which I'll just put in the top right hand corner here, which was the first comparison of the shotgun and the revolver in the Ender's Echo, it was actually a really close battle. There wasn't actually too much in it, which is why I thought I wanted to do another run just to compare them in the main chapter modes, which is what we're doing here. I did also have a commentary in one of my other videos say pretty much every other weapon is useless. The Light Chaser and the Void Gun are by far the best. I think once you get to legendary baseball bat, that can also be useful in the main chapters, but there's probably 1% of people are at that stage, which is why I thought this would still be useful. As I say, there's not many people that are going to be watching this video that are at that level. Possibly though, I'm not too sure, but for me, and I've played the game quite a bit, I'm not at that level, so this is still quite an interesting comparison for me. And if you just saw on the screen, then I think just over the 2 minute mark I got the Gatling gun, and as you can see here, absolute destruction. And I suppose another sort of rule that I impose on myself is trying to play the game to get the most kills with the primary weapon. So as you can see, I am sort of sprinting up, trying to run into as many zombies as possible, which is pretty much what I am doing. As you can see, there isn't really much left on the screen once the Gatling gun gets going. I suppose also worth noting the weapon or other weapons that I have chosen here. So I think I get the drill shot there, and I have a sort of probably one of the strongest sort of builds that you can get. So I end up obviously with the Gatling gun, Shoutmore gun. I end up getting the destroyer, the 1-9, the whistling arrow, and the supercell, and I think in a perfect build they would probably be all of my top weapons. I think depending on the stage, you could argue others could be more useful, but generally speaking, they're all the 5 weapons that would get the most damage. So really pleased with the loadout I got, and obviously it's an interesting comparison, not only against the shotgun and the revolver, but against all the weapons as well. And here we are, just coming up to the 5 minute mark, so we will have the first boss, and I think here you can really see where the Gatling gun shines. Did you even see a health bar? I'm not too sure. It absolutely disintegrated within half a second, so really impressive, and that is pretty much what the Gatling gun is good for. I think the only reason I wouldn't say struggled in the Ender's Echo, because I think you could play it really well, but obviously trying to collect gems when you've got to face away or move when the bosses are running at you is what sort of lets the Gatling gun down. But if you're talking about pure DPS, the Gatling gun probably is number 1 of all the weapons on Survivor.io, so that is something to sort of bear in mind when you're coming up against these sort of singular bosses in the chapter mode. The Gatling gun is probably going to be number 1. And I'm not sure if you just saw there, but I have now the tech part on the brick and the 1-9. I had changed that around from the Guardian and the Force Field. I think the brick, generally speaking, is a better weapon, so I thought that could be a more interesting use of my tech part to put on the brick, just to see how that does, I suppose. And as you can see with the gameplay, generally my tactic is just the same. Pretty much as soon as I have that Gatling gun, it is to move up in that sort of pattern, unsure what is the perfect way, I suppose, to get the most kills, whether I just run straight up, but then I suppose I run the risk of sort of doing too much damage in a straight line and my bullets going off the screen, or sort of waving it around as I do there. But there you can see my two other Evo upgrades. I get the Destroyer and the Whistling Arrow, so there is that sort of space now to get another weapon, and I end up getting the Supercell. It doesn't actually have a tech part, but I do really like the Supercell weapon. It's just I need to try and get it upgraded. I think the one that I would get rid of is the Epic level 2. Supercell is only the sort of Epic, so it misses out on about 180 plus attack, but there we go. We get the Lightning Tower anyway. It is a really strong weapon without the tech part, and so it is going to be an interesting comparison at the end. And here we have just past the 9-minute mark. We get this little chest here which gives us the 1-ton iron, which means the only two weapons now we don't have Evo is the RPG, which we've actually just got to level 5 there, and the Lightning, which we only just got recently due to the Destroyer merge. So our levels are absolutely flying up. We're level 32 with 16 plus 1,000 kills, and I think most of that is down to the Gatling gun, which is obviously just sort of destroying everything on the field. And here we just skip forward a bit. We're on the 10-minute mark. Here's the second boss. As you can see, not quite as quick as the first one, but pretty much does go down instantly, and it gives us the 3 upgrades. I suppose also worth noting in terms of the sort of passive upgrades we have the attack upgrade, the HE fuel, the attack cooldown, the max HP increase, and the projectile speed increase, just to allow the Whistling Arrow to be upgraded to Evo. And I think there is one final slot which we will get a bit later on. And here we get the Sharkmore gun. So that is actually every single weapon that we now have Evo'd before the 11-minute mark, so I suppose that is worth bearing in mind. Here you can see, still going with it, the same tactic, trying to move up slowly while still collecting some of the gems, just so we can still upgrade the passives. But I suppose leveling up isn't that important now. I'm just trying to maximize the kills, both with the Gatling gun and I suppose in general. Here we just look to kill that little elite boss there. We get his chest, and I think it actually gives us 3 or 5 of the upgrades. 5, so 5 of the passives we get, so though not really necessary. I suppose at this stage we're pretty much doing the max damage. As you can see, still very hard to get any enemies onto the screen. I think that a mixture between all the weapons being really strong, but obviously the Gatling gun as well, just pretty much destroying every enemy that comes on the screen. Here we go, so there's 2 minutes left. We will get the ammo thruster here, and then we'll get onto the lucky train. We'll get the attack increase there, just to make sure the Gatling gun is doing as much damage. And I think here is the first time when there is sort of this many hordes of zombies coming at you that you can just sort of see. I suppose it's obviously not struggling, but it's not, the bullets aren't sort of penetrating all of them, so it's not doing the max damage. And obviously if you were using the light chaser here, which has that sort of infinite pierce effect, it might be doing more damage, as obviously the projectiles would be going through all of the enemies. But obviously not everyone has the light chaser, hence the reason for this video. And here we go, final boss assault. Skip forward a bit there, and we'll just see how fast we can kill him. I think this is the first time that this boss actually manages to move, so our Gatling gun bullets miss, but he goes down really quickly anyway. And there we go, chapter 12 is complete. 34,500 enemies done, and 29% of that damage was done by the Gatling. The rest is spread out relatively evenly. The Destroyer was 4%, which I found interesting, but I think that was just because it was close range. Chapter 13 unlocked, but we'll go back to chapter 12. We will equip the Revolver, which is sort of the exact same as what the shotgun was. Level 49, epic number 2, and we'll jump straight back into this with the Revolver. Obviously, we will try and get exactly the same weapons and upgrades. It's going to be near impossible to get everything at the same time, so just bear that in mind. I actually did a few runs as I was just struggling to try and get the Revolver evoed up at even a relatively close time to what I had with the shotgun, but this was the best of the bunch, and I think it is still a really close comparison. Pretty much every weapon is identical. I think there's a few passives that turn out to be slightly different, but all in all, none of those actually make any impact onto the comparison itself, so this is a really good one. So here we are, coming up to the 1 minute mark. I suppose it is worth bearing in mind that at the 1 minute mark we had the shotgun at level 5, We haven't got the revolver at that stage yet, so it is still a bit behind. I think I put that down to it being, well, one, slightly unlucky in terms of the not getting the revolver in the upgrades as much, but also I don't actually think we're killing quite as many enemies and getting as many gems and as many upgrades. But it is what it is, and we will continue on, and pretty much all the weapons and the passive upgrades are the same at this stage. I do end up getting the XP gain, as I didn't want to upgrade my other weapons, the sort of tech part weapons that I have here, ahead of the revolver, as I thought that may dilute and may not make a great comparison. So we keep the revolver sort of leveled up equally to what the shotgun was against the other sort of counterpart weapons, and this I think was the fairest way to keep it all, I suppose, as fair as it can be. But here we go, in our next level at which we get here, we get the revolver there to level 5, so it's not actually too far behind. Obviously a level 5 revolver is also very strong. I also think having the epic revolver is pretty much a must if you're going to actually use the revolver in a serious way to get through the chapters. The epic revolver has one of the perks that if your shot kills an enemy, you get that bullet back in your chamber. The reload speed of the revolver is obviously one of the biggest downsides of the weapon, so having pretty much unlimited sort of capacity to be able to shoot is where the revolver can come into its own. And as you can see, when you're shooting into big crowds there, it does have that sort of slight little auto aim from where you're facing. You see the bullets sort of reappear in the chamber as they're killing enemies, and because of the high damage, it pretty much, unless you're shooting a boss or an elite, it pretty much kills every enemy in one shot, so you can consistently shoot downwards, and I think that is why the revolver can get such high damage, just because it is pretty much constantly shooting. So here we are approaching the 5-minute mark, and we will have our first boss assault here. Hopefully here you can actually see how good the revolver is, although interestingly, because you're sort of still firing when the boss is trying to appear and there aren't enemies on the screen, you sort of end up having to reload, and I think the other weapons sort of managed to kill the boss relatively quickly. The revolver couldn't really have much to do with it, but I think in general, if you're trying to fight a boss that has a bit more HP and lasts a bit longer, the revolver would there be very good. Having just passed the 5-minute marker, I did do a bit of a timestamp. The revolver had 2,462 kills at the 5-minute mark, whereas the shotgun actually had 5,670. I would imagine that the Gatling gun had something to do with that, as we did have the Evo upgrade there, but there we just actually pick up the revolver upgrade. I don't think it would have actually played too much of a role, I suppose. I think even with the Evo'd High Noon revolver, it doesn't actually kill too much more. It just does a lot more damage to singular enemies, which is interesting. But I actually don't think it would kill more enemies, it would just do more damage. And I suppose that is demonstrated, as you can see on the screen. With the Gatling gun, you're able to just sort of sprint up and kill lots of enemies, or pretty much all that are appearing on the screen. But with the High Noon, there is, I suppose, a bit of a delay. You can't actually keep sprinting up, even with the sort of instant reload that the epic allows, where you don't actually have to reload. I still can't continuously sprint up. I think the revolver is obviously meant for bosses, it's meant for singular enemies, just because you're not actually doing any pierce effect, you're just sort of killing singular enemies on the screen. And I did sort of note here, because I'm not getting the sort of level of kills that I had with the Gatling gun, my level isn't the same. I'm not managing to get as many upgrades as in the previous run, which there's nothing I can do about that. I'm just not getting the sort of levels, so the other weapons aren't as high in terms of what their level is, but that is just part and parcel of what this comparison is all about. In terms of the difference in our current sort of weapons and loadout, I have the lightning already, whereas in the previous run I only got the lightning once the destroyer had been merged. So it is the whistling arrow that I don't have, and as soon as we get the destroyer and merge the drones, we'll have that slot back open up and we will get the destroyer. So we do end up with exactly the same weapons. We do manage to get the destroyer, here it is, but we're not actually leveling up nearly as quick as we were in the Gatling run. I think that just comes down to the speed in which we're trying to kill the enemies. As you can see, we can't run up the screen, not even closer, and there's still lots of enemies that you can see on the screen. In the Gatling run, they were all sort of wiped out, but here we go, second boss. Let's see how we do. Obviously, I try and face at the boss again, and he goes down really quickly. I suppose that is what the revolver is all about, trying to kill bosses like that. And here we go, just as we pass the 10-minute mark, just another timestamp, the Revolver has just over 6,000 kills at the 10-minute mark, whereas the shotgun actually had 17,000 kills at the 10-minute mark. So that gap has actually vastly widened in terms of the number of kills. So it is really interesting to sort of see how many more kills you can get with other weapons on the same level even. So that is just really interesting, bearing in mind that pretty much every other factor of this run is identical in terms of the weapons that we're using, and even the passives. It's just interesting to note that you can get, coming up to triple the number of kills just using the shotgun as opposed to the Revolver, and that comes down to sort of the struggle of leveling up. We're not getting the kills, we're not getting the levels, other weapons aren't being leveled up, and that is even bearing in mind that in this run we actually have the extra XP gain, which is leveled up quite high already. So that is just even more shocking, I suppose, that the Revolver struggles to level up this much even though it has that extra XP gain. But here we go, we're finally getting the whistling arrow there, and I think we actually have the majority of our Evo weapons now ready. I think it is just the RPG which we don't, but I think we get that to level 4. There it is. But that is as we're already approaching the 15-minute mark, whereas we had every single Evo weapon at, I think, the 11-minute mark in the shotgun run. That just sort of demonstrates the sort of level difference and the sort of orb difference that we had managed to get. But here we go, coming into the final boss assault now. Hopefully, again, we can sort of showcase the Revolver. Kills, I suppose, the boss in a very similar time to the Revolver, but that is the run over, and really interesting results. We only killed 13,744, so no wonder we were struggling with the upgrades. The Reaper did do 42%, and again, all the other weapons are relatively similar. RPG, we didn't manage to get to the Evo upgrade, but there it is. And now, just to conclude, we'll go through the final stats of the comparison. With the shotgun, the total run kills were 34,568, with the shotgun doing 29% of the total damage, meaning that the shotgun did 10,024 kills. The Revolver, 13,744 kills in the run, with the Revolver doing 42% of that. So the Revolver damage was actually only 5,772, which is around half of what the shotgun actually got. So I've got to conclude here that the shotgun is actually the best weapon for a chapter, and it isn't really close in terms of the run kills. Obviously, it's nearly triple with the shotgun, and obviously if you are struggling in a chapter mode, you want to get as many kills as possible in order to level up as much as possible. And obviously we managed to get all the Evo upgrades by the 11-minute mark. We didn't even get all of them with the Revolver, so I'd imagine in tricky chapter modes the shotgun would be much better to use than the Revolver, even though the percentage damage was higher. That's only down to not being able to kill enough zombies to sort of level up enough to get every weapon upgraded. But there we have it. I thought this was a really interesting run with a bit of a twist of the vast difference in kills that the two weapons get. But there we have it. If you have got this far, if you do like the content, please do like and subscribe. It really does help me out, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks a lot.